Following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys!
This is Cowboys Storyline, presented by Gillette, the official shave of the Dallas Cowboys. Here's Nick Eatman.
Hello and welcome to Cowboys Storyline, presented by Gillette. I'm Nick Eatman. Let's talk some Cowboys football. Not the best game the Cowboys fans have seen last week. Definitely a tough loss to the Carolina Panthers, one where you never really got a good sense of how the game was going. Early on, after an interception, touchdown, and it was 10-3, you kind of thought maybe, the Cowboys would figure out the running game and stop, either figure out how to run the ball and stop the run. And neither thing ever materialized. They never did find a groove in the running game, which hurt them down in the red zone. Yes, they moved the ball around, but in the red zone, they stalled twice, settled for field goals. That proved to be a difference in the game there. And then obviously, the Panthers ran the ball whenever they wanted to, and then play action at time and made Bryce Young look like a better quarterback than he is, and they ended up winning the game and made Rico Dowdle a better running back than he probably is, even though he's running really well, but not to that tune. That shouldn't be the norm. So tough loss for the Cowboys. They can pick up the pieces this week, see what happens when they take on Washington. The Commanders had a very tough Monday night loss for them as well. Probably should have won the game, but didn't. So it happens. We'll see what happens here at AT&T Stadium. Dan Quinn and Jaden Daniels and that crew comes back to town. All right, let's talk about it here. 888-855-2297. Let's start. We're going to stay in Kansas City here. We're going to start with Brian in Kansas City. Brian, what's up?
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
Good, man. Hey, so thank God the NFC East is coming back to us. We'll take all those losses that they can provide to give us a chance, right?
Yeah.
So I think I think my one question today is everybody wants us to go out and get make trades and use our capital and I'm for that too. I think the only thing we can do now, we can't get a Mike linebacker now, but we could get somebody who can rush the passer. But right now, without that, what other thing could Eberflus do that he's not already doing that might make a change? So, and I think the answer is we got to blitz more than 5 times a game. Yeah, that's it. That's my only question, man. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, that's it. That's the answer. That'd be my answer if you said, hey, what's your favorite Fortnite game? Blitz. What do you think the Cowboys need to do? Blitz. Same thing. Blitz. Get after them. Because you can't get there with 4. I mean, that's the problem. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody that has a great pass rush on their own ever really has to dial up a blitz. And therefore, you got more guys back there to cover, and you're going to have a great defense. But when you don't have that, when your guys up front just can't win off the ball, they can't. Then we know this. And these guys, that's why they're kind of available. I mean, look at the guys that they have on defense. Most of these guys have been, especially from a pass rusher standpoint, you look at Fowler, you look at Clowney, you look at Houston. These guys have been with other teams. They flashed, a little bit here and there, but for the most part, they moved on to other teams, or their teams moved them on, whatever the case may be. So you're talking about journeyman pass rushers. And players where, the Cowboys, there hasn't been a ton of consistency. And there's not a lot of consistency in the pass rush. So that's something that the Cowboys are going to have to manufacture. We talked about this on Monday's show, that in the Eagles game in the week 1, they didn't have it. So they figured out ways to blitz, whether it be the corners coming here and there. Somebody's got to do it. Maris Leofau blitzed the other day against Carolina, got home. There was only, I think, 5 blitzes in the game, which is unbelievable to me, because I'm probably blitzing 3 or 4 times a series if it goes that long. I think if you blitz 5 times in a series, it's not going to be that long, because they're either going to score or you're going to make a play, but they're scoring anyways. That's the problem. They're scoring anyways. So it's not really a bend but don't break. It's just bending. That's what's happening here. All right, KC Joe in Kansas City is next. KC Joe.
Good morning. How are you doing this morning,
Good morning.
Nick?
How are you?
I'm good, sir. I'm good. Hey, how was your treatment in Carolina? Was it good? Did they treat you right?
No, they didn't. They didn't. I was fine. I didn't get the brunt of it. Other people that are on other shows here, they dealt with it a little bit more surprisingly. But that just goes to show that it sucks down there in Carolina. They won the game. This isn't sour grapes, but we've been there before when the Cowboys dominated them, and they suck down there in Carolina. So it's not my favorite place at all. So no, it wasn't a great trip.
I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry. Well,
okay.
at least Washington decided to be the copycat league and, lose by a field goal just like
Sure,
us. They just wanted to be like us. So.
I don't know if it makes you feel better or if it's just like, what another wasted opportunity. I mean, because you got to beat Carolina on the road. I mean, if you can't beat Carolina on the road, it's going to be tougher, and it is going to be tougher than that. That just seems like a very winnable game. And so when you see the Eagles lose and see Washington lose, it's like, well, at least it's not that bad. But you also think of it like, man, you gotta take care of business when the door was open like that.
I hear you. Well, have a good day. Chris is telling me we got to hurry, so you have a good one. We'll talk to you later this week.
That was your only question?
I have a whole bunch of questions, but
go for it.
Chris says we have to be quick today.
Quick.
Oh, I was going to ask you if you think they're going to give out 1 or 11 pink slips. I'm like, is Eberflus going to go, or is the whole defense going to go?
Okay. All right. Well, they can't. Thanks for the call. I don't think either one at the moment. Jerry got asked about it on Tuesday's radio show, and Stephen Jones have been asked about it as well. It doesn't seem like they're willing to make a move from coaching personnel at the moment. But I think the first thing you got to do is trick some things up, and if you're not going to do that, then I think you do have to make a move. If your coach is not going to change what he's doing, then you have to change the coaches. But right now, I think you see what happens and see if they're willing to adjust. That's what great coaches do. They adjust. They adjust to what the situation is. They fit the scheme around their players, and instead of trying to fit the players into the scheme. That's what we've seen so far. And if they keep doing it, then especially from a zone defense standpoint, it's pretty predictable of what your team's going to do. And since you're not getting any pass rush, then you'll just sit there all day long, and you're going to let guys like Hunter and Fro just go across the middle and make plays, and he's a good route runner. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying anybody could probably get open. I think me and Chris could get open if you give us a few seconds. Maybe I don't know, but if you give us a few seconds, that's the nature of the NFL. You can get open. So there's no pass rush, and so if there's no pass rush, then the zone doesn't really work. And man-to-man's not going to work either if you don't get any pass rush. But at least that way you can blitz and you can use somebody in that zone to get closer to the line of scrimmage. All right, Raza is in Alexandria, Virginia. Raza, what's up?
Hey, what's up? I'm doing good. How about you? Good. So, yeah, it was a tough loss. It just sucks that our offense has to play almost perfect to get the wins, to get these wins, which is tough. No offense is going to always play perfect, even though Dak has been playing fairly well. And then what I've been seeing, I want to know if you see this too when you watch film, is like what I heard from the other radio shows is a lot of players are playing like hero ball and not staying like in their alignments and stuff like that. I feel like that's been an issue for us for the past couple of years. And then I just have 2 questions real quick. One is Brad, it's a little off topic, but Brad Shams always says, walk the dog. Do you know what that term means when people get a touchdown when he says, walk the dog?
Not really. I mean, that's just his
when
phrase. I guess
that?
it means it's easy, or something like that. Like they're going.
Okay.
I have no idea. I've never really asked him. That's just kind of his phrase, but I think it's kind of like just on a Sunday stroll or something. I'm not really sure. I haven't asked him that.
Okay, and then my other question, I'll take it off air. Do you see us making a trade? Do you sense a trade maybe happening to help the defense? Me personally, I would just like to just stick with what we have and just fight it out. But I want to hear if you sense something happening at least in that. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Reza. I do actually. I see them making a trade. I don't know. I don't have any specific players, or I haven't heard that or anything like that, but. The reason why I can see that happening is your offense is too good. Dak is playing too good right now. to just say, man, let's see how it goes. Let's get these picks. These picks have to develop too. You're going to get late round first picks or mid to late, whatever it's going to be, and you're going to get 2 of them, and they're going to take some time to develop. And I think when you look at, there's nothing that's a guarantee. Even if you pick up another Mozzie Smith, another Tyler Guyton, another Tyler Smith, all of those guys need to develop. So I think the way your quarterback is playing and the way this offense is right now, I think it would be a shame to not try to go and do something to help it. Because if you help this defense just a little bit, we said this Monday, just a tad where you're getting off the field a couple times more, where 7 points here, 4 points here. I mean, if you give me 7 points a game off every score, I mean, I think the Cowboys are 4-1. Or 5-1, or whatever that would be. So that's not reality. But my point is that's how close it is, and that's how good your offense is. So that's why I think I would make sure and not waste this. And I think if there's a move to be made, I think the Cowboys will look for it. All right, let's take a break here on Cowboys Storyline. I'll be right back after this.
Altec Lansing has been perfecting sound since 1927, bringing you decades of audio excellence to elevate your Dallas Cowboys tailgate ritual. Equip your next pregame with the Sound Rover 180 with 6 hours of playtime, built-in microphone, multicolor light modes, and a rugged exterior that's built to last. Visit alteclansing.com/Cowboys15 for 15% off your Sound Rover 180. That's ALTECLANSING.com/Cowboys15 for 15% off. Altec Lansing, official audio partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Crown Royal and the Dallas Cowboys are bringing back the Royal Rig for Season 2. See it in action at AT&T Stadium on Thanksgiving Day, where the Dallas Cowboys take on the Kansas City Chiefs, and around Dallas on November 26th and November 28th. Visit crownroyal.com to see where else the Royal Rig is stopping this NFL season. That's crownroyal.com. Please drink responsibly.
Back to Cowboys Storyline, presented by Gillette, the official shave of the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, back here on Cowboys Storyline. Let's get straight to the phones again. We got JR in Avondale, Arizona. JR, how you doing?
Doing great. How's everything in Dallas?
Good. What we got?
I got back from the ledge yesterday. It's a week-to-week league. We're 2 plays out of first place, so I'm happy about that. Nobody saw those games last night, who won and who lost. So it's week to week. We got a shot. One thing I want to say is this. Looking at the defense, the last thing I'm going to say about defense is that it looks like Eberflus is playing chess, trying to teach these guys to play chess. And I think we need to change the game to checkers, make it simpler, and try to win some games. And one question for you, is Kalen Carson going to play this week? Because I'd like to see him in there instead of Elam. That's all I got. Have a great day. Go Cowboys.
Thanks for the call. I think Kalen Carson is supposed to be activated. At least that's what it sounds like. Stephen Jones was saying, Mingo as well. I've never really seen a lot out of Kalen Carson to be excited about it. He's every time he's got an opportunity to play, either he hasn't played that well or then he gets hurt. So, I know he had a little bit of, good training camp as a rookie. A lot of that was expectations too, based off of, 5th round pick. And then here he is, and he has a pretty good training camp. But we'll see. I mean, I guess, yeah, he gives you something more than Elam. He hasn't played in a long time, so didn't play any preseason games, of course, and so he's been banged up. We'll see what he can provide. Same with Mingo as well. Played a little bit more and see how they do that, because they got some receivers going to be activated this week. Obviously, CD and Turpin. So, and the thing about the chess versus checkers. The reason why I think Dan Quinn was such a great coordinator is he simplified it for the defense very easily, but yet it was not easy for offensive coordinators and opposing offenses to beat it. That's the key, because you can say I've got this really easy defense for our players to understand. Well, guess who also knows about it? That offensive coordinator who's watching you for 6 days in a row leading up to it, and then you know what I mean. Like, you can kind of figure it out. So the best coordinators are the ones that make it easy for your players and hard for the opponents to figure out. And so that's the key that I think that they've got to find that balance. All right, let's go to Atlanta for our next call. G in Atlanta.
Good morning, Nick.
How you doing?
I'm well, bro. I'm well. Forgive me if you already answered this question, man.
You're
but
all right.
Booker is. I haven't heard anything about Booker. How long will it be for him to come back? And I just heard you say Turpin's coming back as well. But I have another question on why does Donovan Wilson continuously get left in coverage all the time? I know he's supposed to be a box safety for us. So
yeah.
We have him in coverage a lot, man. So I just get offline and listen to your answer on that. Appreciate it.
Don't have a great answer for you on that one. I mean, he's a safety. They like to be interchangeable safeties, but it really isn't the case, though. Hooker was more of your free safety, and Donovan is your strong safety. Donovan makes, he'll make some plays. He gets some interceptions. But he's not the best in coverage. He's on the ground a lot. It feels like I see him slipping and falling. Just things like that. He needs to be closer to the line of scrimmage. They don't have a ton of options at safety. They've got, Wanye Thomas, I think, is a little bit more of your free safety. He's been okay. I think he's been pretty good since he's gotten in there. But Donovan, I made the comparison yesterday to Roy Williams, and it's very similar. They big hits, tone-setting plays, can get some turnovers around the ball, can make some big tackles, big hits, but gives up some. And that's what mismatches are. They're mismatches for both sides of the ball. As for your question about Booker, he could be back this week, and Booker, Turpin, and CD are three guys that Schottenheimer said they're hopeful will return this week. So that would be a big plus to get him back out there. All right, let's go to Dylan, Northport, Florida. Dylan.
Hey, Nick. So yesterday called in, came a little hot. My bad. Didn't mean to do that. That was an accident. But you challenged me, and you got me thinking a little bit instead of giving up on the defense. There's a couple things I want to do to just instantly, hopefully, improve. I'm not sure if I've seen the willingness from Flus to do these things, but I'm keeping Wanye in, mixing in some Marquise Bell. I'm keeping Donald out of coverage when possible, playing him close to the line. I'm going to play a lot more man with Diggs and Bland, because if I'm going to lose doing what I do best, and that's man coverage with Diggs and Bland. I'm going to stop getting cute, right? And then lastly, we got to get a pass rush. So I'm blitzing the heck out of my linebackers, and they're coming more often than not. That blitz rate is going to skyrocket. I just want to get your thoughts on what you would do to maybe instantly improve this defense.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the call, Dylan. And anybody that didn't hear, yesterday, everybody was frustrated. It was a Monday show. Everybody was frustrated. And all I was kind of saying is because your offense is so good, and it really is, can score a lot of points, and it's keeping you in these games, that I'm not asking for a lot. You're not getting beat 24-3 every week. You're getting beat at the buzzer. You're getting beat last play of the game, last drive, things like that. So, that's why I was like, let's see about fixing a couple of things, tweaks and alterations can make the biggest difference here. That's how close things are, and that's why I'm not ready to just give up and say it's not going to be better. Now, I like what you're saying. I like all of those things. I think that the linebackers are going to have to be the ones to blitz. Maybe Donovan Wilson. You want to keep him close to the line of scrimmage. There's nothing closer than that. Put him on the other side of the line of scrimmage for blitz. But whatever it is, it's got to be mixing it up. You've got to know. I'm not sure who's going to be coming when and where. That's the biggest key. That's what we've got to figure out here. Let's go to Sebastian in Savannah, Georgia, real quick.
No. Good morning, Mr. Eamon. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. Listen, I wasn't mad Monday. I was fine. Listen, in the words of the prophet Rico Dotto, buckle up, because this is the season that we're in for.
Yeah.
We got a preview of this against the Jets. They just didn't stick to the run game. We had a guy coming in off of a 200-yard rushing game. That was their game plan. That was their entire game plan. So with that being said, first question is this. Have you ever had a season where every game was 50-50? And then second, this is for Cowboys Nation. Honestly, I see a lot of people being mad at Brian Schottenheimer for what he's saying in the press conferences. He can't say anything else. You can't be like, oh, my gosh, listen, I didn't think that Jerry was going to trade my best player at the beginning of the season. I didn't think that this defensive coordinator was going to be inept at putting people in the right position, because every time you look at Donovan Wilson and the TV zooms in on him, he looks confused. I'm like, why is he 20 yards off the ball? Donovan Wilson is a box safety. That's it. I'm going to hang up and listen. You have a great day.
All right. Well, I appreciate that, that you say that about Donovan Wilson, because I do think he is close to the line of scrimmage. The only thing I will say about that, turned immediately to 2012. 2012 was a year they were 8-8. I found an 8-8 year because that's the kind of games you're playing. 13 games were played one score or less, and about 8 of those were 3 points or less. So that's another season you look at that finished 8-8. Let's go to break real quick on Cowboys Storyline. Be right back after this.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
All right, Cowboys fans, this one's for you. Gillette's Best Shave has a new look this season, and they've got one that sticked out in Cowboys colors just for us. We're going to want to run, not walk to this one, y'all. The new Gillette Labs official Dallas Cowboys licensed razor isn't just Gillette's best shave. With 50% longer lasting blades than Fusion, it's the best a Cowboys fan can get. Get it while you can at Gillette.com/NFL. Gillette's Best Shave is also available as heated.
Back to Cowboys Storyline, presented by Gillette, the official shave of the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, back here on Cowboys Storyline, presented by Gillette in the quiet podcast studio here. All I got is you guys, which is good. All right, let's give a shout-out to Chris Beam, because this is a shout-out for sure for him. He's doing a good job running the phone lines. Let's get KC in L.A. going. KC.
Hey, Nick. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good, considering. It was really disheartening, though, on Sunday to watch how many times for 5 or more yards without even being touched. It's got to shear that stuff up. And then with the pass coverage, if we can't get there, I agree with you, man. Let's start sending some blitzes. If we can't cover when we're in protection, we might as well try to heat up the opposing quarterbacks. A couple tweaks on there. Hopefully we can figure this thing out, because nobody is running away with the NFC right now.
No, definitely not. And all right, thanks for the call. You do have Washington coming up this week, and I think blitzing Bryce Young in Carolina, he's not going anywhere. Especially if you blitz kind of from inside the pocket, he's going to back up, and he's going to throw it away. I mean, he's not going to really hurt you that much with his legs. Jaden Daniels certainly can. So you send the house and you don't get home, or you miss the tackle because he's a big guy. Well, there's going to be some problems there, but you got to take your chances there. I mean, you're going to have to do that because if you just sit back, and I don't know the nature of their injuries. I know that Terry McLaurin didn't play. I'm always one to think they return for the Cowboys. I mean, that's just the way it always seems to be. I'm not saying he's returning for the Cowboys. It just seems like they usually come back, But Washington can say the same thing. Oh, of course CD's coming back this week. Yeah, well, he is. He's been gone. He's going to be a wide receiver only, I would imagine. Keep him at the receiver spot, let him run routes, and keep him away from the line of scrimmage. All right, Irene, Falls Church, Virginia is next. Irene.
Hey, good morning. Okay, one worry and one hope. For the locker room, I'm a little worried on the defensive side of the ball. When you hear, okay, we're not going to make a change at head coach, the players have to execute better, which is true. But, I worry about what happens there in the rift, and I hope that Shotty can intervene and bridge some sort of gap and at least maybe make, some suggestions for players to be put in better positions. And then my hope, watching DeAndre Swift get that pass and run, I really hope we can actually get Jaden Blue that kind of play instead of just running up the middle, and see if his speed can take advantage of that weak defense. All right, that's it. Thanks.
Sure. Bye. All right. Well, you're obviously there and close to Commander country, if that's a thing. But a lot of Washington fans there, and they're going to be pumped up for this one. And it's always going to be a good game, and it has been the last few times they've played. And the Cowboys, and they went down to the very last play both times. I thought the Cowboys outplayed them twice, and it was that made me think that I don't know if Washington was really that good last year. I mean, and that's not a knock on them. They won a lot of close games, and you have to give them credit for that. But I thought that this might be a season where they take a step back a little bit. They caught lightning in a bottle. Go back and look at some of those games. I mean, even just the loss to Dallas was like the one few loss that they had that it was really close. They had some 2-point conversions that they made at the last minute, and they've kind of played that way. And then they ended up losing one that they probably shouldn't have. And Jaden Daniels, that was a costly fumble for them and for my fantasy team, but that's okay. That's all right, I guess. But that's what happens. That's how close these games are. And this one, that's what Shotty said yesterday. He said, I can promise you this, it's going to come down to the fourth quarter. This one, Carolina did. We lost. We got outscored 10-3. We lost in the fourth quarter. This game will come down to the fourth quarter. And what do they do there? All right, phone lines are open here on Cowboys Storyline on a Tuesday. We say be quick, be quick. And here we are. The phone lines are open. Who can get there first? We do have a text question here from Mike. It's in Boston. He says, Dak has 3 years left on his contract. We need to take advantage of how well he's playing. All the defense needs to be is middle of the pack. We have enough talent. I think we could get there. We need to change the scheme, have 2 all-pro corners. We have serviceable array of defensive line. Hopefully Demo comes back healthy. His window should be opening soon, which is a 21-day window, which – they're hopeful that he can get back. I don't think he's the answer. I mean, I don't think he's a savior is what I really am trying to say. I think he's a really good player. I don't think he's the savior, though. He hasn't played in a while. He's going to need to kind of get it going again. So we'll see. We'll see how he does. But I agree with you, Mike. I said this a little bit earlier in the show when I was asked, do I think they will make a trade? And I do think the Cowboys will do something to go for it here. Nobody's running away from things in the NFC East. You still have the ability to make the playoffs, and then you just want to get into the playoffs. I mean, that's the thing. Like, you can make all your jokes if you want to about, well, what happens in the playoffs. All I know is that you have a quarterback that's been there. He'll be his 10th year, and you get in the dance, anything can happen, especially if you can be a physical team that can run the ball. They did not run the ball well Sunday. They didn't. Can they run the football? Yeah, they can. They can. And I don't think that they're stopped now from running the football. I think especially you put Turpin, you put CD in there, that's going to be even tougher for teams. I think, I think if CD's in the game, I think the Cowboys win that one. I really do. As well as Pickens was playing, who on the other side that would they have tried to cover. And I think they would have had to change their defense, and I think that the running game, they would have been more balanced. That's what I think CD and Turpin will add to this offensive team, and I think Booker adds that as well. All right, we got some callers now. William in West Virginia. William, what's up, OG? What's up?
OG back in the house. How we doing, Nick?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. Tough game Sunday, but I just gotta hope the defense turns it around at some point. I had a couple questions for you if you got a second.
Go for it.
First one centers on Phil Maffa. I mean, I know they're down to 2 backs right now. I really liked him in preseason. Do you think he could be brought up anytime soon? And on a defensive note, Harvey Martin, I saw, was again eligible for the Seniors Committee for the Hall of Fame. Do you think that he finally clears the hurdle this year? Because I would love to see him at Tuttle, because you know how old I am. I remember watching him guys at Ron. So, I mean, but I might be starting your own senior version of the storyline, senior storyline group, I guess. But yeah. I just want to get your take on that.
All right, appreciate that. You know, I actually you said that the other day, and I agree with you. Something about the senior committee for the all storyline team. You know, just like with the Hall of Fame, you know, you've got your modern era stuff, but then you got your senior group too. You don't want to forget about these guys, and maybe, you know, in y'all's case, you don't call as much or whatever, but you've been there from the beginning, and the guys and girls that have been there from the beginning, you know, they allowed us to kind of do shows like this, and they've allowed us to have 8 podcasts now just because of the demand is so high. But it started somewhere. It started early on, and so I don't think we should ever lose sight of that. And then speaking of that from a player standpoint, Harvey Martin, I've been told this by a voter who says that never in any conversation that they've ever had with the voting about a player has it ever come up with that team's Ring of Honor or Hall of Fame or whatever, whether or not they're in there. Because that's what a lot of fans say. That's what I kind of say when I look at Harvey Martin. I'm like, well, he's not even in the Ring of Honor. And I don't know if it's harder to get in the Ring of Honor than it is a Hall of Fame. And I mean that seriously. Like it's very tough to get in. This is your all-time leader in sacks for the first, 45 years of the franchise, 50 years, until D. Ware broke his record. But Harvey Martin, you know, led the team in sacks, and he was a great player. He's not in the Ring of Honor. And Everson Walls, not in the Ring of Honor. Too Tall Jones, those guys there too. Cornell Green. So, you know, I mean, I've been told it's never been a factor, but I still have a hard time believing that. I don't think so. And I think that if they would go into the Ring of Honor, I think it puts their name out there more, and I think that it could help them get in. I truly believe that. Yeah, I'd like to see Harvey Martin get in, of course. But, you know, Too Tall Jones, all those guys. But not to be hypocritical, but I also love how exclusive it is. Because then when a guy does get in, it just doesn't feel like, it's his turn. He's really earned something. So it's kind of hard. It's a tough line to walk there. All right, Davion in Illinois. What's up, Davion?
What's up? What's going on, big guy?
How you doing?
What's going on, guy? Man, trying to recover still. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was pretty upset Sunday, and of course going into tomorrow yesterday. So definitely trying to get myself together, but looking to try to hopefully get this weekend. And maybe we can get back with the Washington team, hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a close one. I mean, I think these are two evenly matched teams. I really believe that.
I think there are, but I think with our defense, I just don't know. Hopefully we can do something to try to get a win, basically get some stops. I think our offense is going to be fine, though.
Yeah.
And I see last night that we can run the ball pretty. I mean, the Chicago ran the ball. They haven't been running the ball all year, and they broke out against them boys. So
yeah, maybe
we get back to our run game this week, then I think we'll be fine. Of course, cut down the turnovers and do what we got to do. I know it's a quick day, so I just
okay.
We'll see.
All right.
But I'll call back later on this week.
All right, Davion. Appreciate that. Thanks for the call. You know, I said this yesterday's show. No turnovers and no sacks allowed. I mean, it's only happened 38 times in Cowboys history, and they're now 33-5 in those games. I mean, it's a recipe for wins most of the time. Of those 5, 4 of them were 3 points or less. This one was 3. The other 3 were 1-point games that the Cowboys lost. The other game where the Cowboys, it's remembered for somebody else, but the other time that the Cowboys had no sacks allowed and no turnovers and lost was the 98 Thanksgiving Day game against Randy Moss and the Vikings. That game, it was crazy. You don't even think about what the Cowboys were doing. They scored 36 points and they moved the ball, but obviously couldn't stop Randy Moss. Only caught 3 passes in the game. All of them were 50 yards, touchdowns or more. All right, let's go to Cowboy Nico. He's in Colorado Springs. Nico.
What's up, Nick?
How are you?
Hey, I'm here. How are you?
Good.
Oh, well, so I'm on Storyliners now. So the Storyliners team is about to hear just a different version of Passionate that you guys don't like on this show, so I'll keep it PG. I have renamed Shoddy. Yes, Irene, I have renamed Shoddy. He is no longer Shoddy to me, or I can't even say the word because Nick will get mad. Although I have heard a lot of nicknames on the show since my call-in. But his now name is HC. Eberflus needs to go. HC needs to stop talking about it and actually do it. And I think this Dallas Cowboys team is actually what you are saying. We are going to make a trade. And I can't believe I'm saying that. We are going to do something because we can't waste Dak Prescott doing what he's doing. We just can't. Like you said, I totally 100% agree with you. I also believe that a lot of people don't like how I speak on this show because just like my prisoners when I worked in the prison, they don't like the cold, hard truth. So I would say to you this, Nick, I speak like Jesse Hawley. I'm very open and blunt about it, and I don't hide it. I am sad. I am mad. I am frustrated. I am upset. You don't play this thing to not win a championship. When I was fighting in MMA, I didn't get in the cage to get a trophy for getting in the cage. I got in the cage to fight. Now, Dallas, do something. Win the game. Let's go, Cowboys.
All right. There you go, Nico. Didn't know he was in the MMA. But yeah, that's a different kind of animal right there. I mean, I would think you got to be a different level of crazy. I mean that respectfully, because just to get in there and do that is I wouldn't know anything about it. However, you're right. I mean, this team, they do need to do something. They're not bad. This isn't a bad football team. It's a bad defense. But it's maybe the best offense in the NFL. And to go through the amount of injuries that this team has seen on offense and still put up this many yards, this many points, it's an unbelievably good offense, and it's a bad defense, and that's very normal. If you've studied the stats over the years, it's very normal. What I always look at when I look at the stats, they have this category where it says like offensive rank, defensive rank, overall. A lot of times it's number 1 and 31. And that's mainly because of yards allowed. You're scoring a lot of points, then you're giving up a lot, and then these games are shootouts. The best teams are the ones that you look at that says 6, 4, and the 6th in offense, 4th in defense. That's a really good team. That's what I think you strive for. That's not what this is. The Cowboys are either 31st or 32nd, depending on the points. But whether it be points allowed, yards allowed, pass defense, they're at the bottom. They're at the top over here. My point is that if they can fix something on defense just enough, and maybe it's a move that's made, maybe it's a scheme, maybe it's all of the above, then I think this thing can get better. I really believe that. All right, let's go back to Atlanta for a repeat. G, what's up?
What's up, baby? Double dipping today, man.
I'm going to call you the double G.
So, Turpin, man, I don't think that people understand how much of a weapon he is. I think our punt return, kick returns have been abysmal since he's been gone. And that we are scoring a lot of points, but I think our point production has gone down just a little bit because we don't have Turpin back there to give us that great field position either, man. So, do you know where we have dropped down to since he's been gone?
And what ranking are you talking about there? What
punt return, kick return?
I don't have those numbers.
Okay.
I know no one's made a play. I mean, I know that. Now, Jaden Blue had a decent return against the Jets, 31 yards maybe. It was a good play. It looked like there was a crease there, and he did a nice job. But it's catching the ball. I mean, it's lining up right, catching the knuckleballs, the ground balls. That's the key. And Jalen Cropper's been here for a while. He's not the answer to me. I think field position is huge, and I think that's something that has been missed big time without Turpin.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also he's a threat. I mean, like, You see Cropper back there, you see Blue, whoever, you see Jalen Tolbert, just punt the ball and go cover it. But with Turpin, I think, well, let's angle it here, and then sometimes when you do, you shank it out of bounds or you don't kick it right. So I think he gets in their head a little bit, and I think he's just another weapon for sure.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Double G, for all y'all that are like, man, I called and didn't get in. This guy got in twice. I don't think the lines are. I think they're pretty open today. I think you have opportunities today. Bruce in Houston got one. Bruce is in there. What's up, Bruce?
Hey, Nick. Thanks for the call. I was frustrated as well with the defense, especially after they played okay against Green Bay and then looked pretty good against the Jets. So you were thinking, okay, maybe they're finally getting Eberflus's defense down mentally. And I know that's why he brought Sanborn over, because he knew his defense. But, my question to you is, if he don't change something, he's gonna fire himself.
Yeah. I
read an article that talked about him being hired technically before Scotty was, and because I just wish Jerry would let the head coach pick his staff. We've done that so many different times in the past with Jason Garrett, Wade Phillips, those kinds of things. But do you know if he does get fired? I mean, I don't think he's going to do it now, but if he does, have you heard any names? Is there anybody on the staff that could? Because I don't think it's a scheme. I think it's the players. You're paying those two corners to top dollar to play man to man, and
Bruce, but you're paying them to do what? To cover, right?
To cover,
and they're not allowed to do that. They're not covering. They're playing zone. They're playing with their eyes. That's not what you pay in Trayvon Diggs and Deron Bland to do. So, all I'm saying is you say you don't think it's a scheme. You think it's the players. Maybe in certain cases, but in the cornerback position, they're not doing what they were paid to do, and that's just cover their guy.
And that's because of our linebacker crew that he has to go to that zone, but he's got to change, because you can't be putting a square peg in a round hole forever, beating your head against the wall. But talk a little bit, who would replace him? And then if you do, you're basically saying to hell with the season, and then don't use your draft picks, man, because if they keep losing like they are, then they need every one of those picks to get the defense better. And I know a rookie first round may not be able to do that, but I don't think they're going to re-sign Diggs, so their first pick's going to need to be a cornerback and maybe a linebacker with the Packers pick. I don't know, but talk about that if you can, and I'll hang up and listen. Talk to you later, buddy.
All right, thanks.
Bye.
Appreciate it. I mean, who on the staff? I mean, like, what position group would you say, all right, this guy needs to be the coordinator? The guys that's coaching the D line and the pass rush? No. The linebacker? No. Your defensive back? No. So I mean, that's the problem. Is where they are is like who. Sometimes a different voice is better. I get that. I mean, I know. I've heard that before, and I agree with it. Just a different voice. Anybody that's a parent understands that they might say the same thing to their kids 10 times, and they don't ever really care in one ear out the other. Then all of a sudden their teacher says it or something at school, and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe that. I'm like, yeah, I've been saying that forever. Or their basketball coach or whatever. You're like, yeah, sometimes a different voice is all that you need. So I think that they should go. I think they should do everything they can right now to try to get this thing going. Change the scheme a little bit, alter some things here and there, maybe add a player or two, figure it out, because it's too good on the one side of the ball to let it go. You have a shot. Get in the playoffs. Figure out a way to get in the playoffs and see what this offense can do. All right, let's go. One more caller here, Josh in Chicago. Josh.
Hey Nick, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Not too bad. I didn't get to make it to the game the other day. I didn't get in until like 1 a.m, so my flights were all delayed and jacked up. I couldn't make it. But
well, that's probably a good
thing.
Thing.
I know, right? That's how I felt afterwards. The main thing I want to say is I kind of wonder about the approach to this team, during the week, Wednesday through Friday, how much they're actually getting into it, especially on the defense. With the miscues that seem to keep happening, is this more of a preparation thing, or is it a mix of everything? That's kind of what I've been thinking about. So I'd love to get your take on that.
Yeah. I think they are trying to figure out. Thanks for the call. They're trying to figure out their identity a little bit here. And now you know what you are offensively, and that's a good thing. But defensively, I'm not giving anybody a pass here. But this scheme of when he got here, when Eberflus got here, and what he was trying to do is, okay, we're going to get after the quarterback. We're going to get after the quarterback with what we have, because we have the best pass rusher in the league, and we got some other guys that we think are really good too. So we're going to be able to get that done. We signed Osa. We're going to be fine. And then we're going to play the scheme the way it is. And then they trade Micah. And everyone thought it was going to happen until he was traded. Everyone thought this was going to be the thing, and it wasn't. So now it's taken 6 games, but 6 games is long enough to know it's not working. You have to shuffle the deck here a little bit and figure out some things on defense to do better. All right, one more break here on Cowboys Storyline. Be right back after this.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
All right, Cowboys fans, this one's for you. Gillette's Best Shave has a new look this season, and they've got one that sticked out in Cowboys colors just for us. We're going to want to run, not walk to this one, y'all. The new Gillette Labs official Dallas Cowboys licensed razor isn't just Gillette's best shave. With 50% longer lasting blades than Fusion, it's the best a Cowboys fan can get. Get it while you can at Gillette.com/NFL. Gillette's Best Shave is also available as heated.
Back to Cowboys Storyline. Presented by Gillette, the official shave of the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, back here on Cowboys Storyline, just real quick to wrap things up. Cowboys taking on the Washington Commanders this week, trying to get back to 500. They're 2-3-1. The Cowboys are, and taking on a Washington team that there was 2 entertaining games last year, and there's no doubt about it. It went down to the wire, and Turpin comes back this week. He should be back this week, and Washington doesn't want to see that, especially after that 99-yard spinning kickoff return for a touchdown. But they need him in the return game. They need CeeDee Lamb back on offense, of course, and Turpin as well. Booker there. Those 3 guys are expected to play. We'll see how they practice this week, but there's a good chance they could play, and that could change a lot for this Cowboys offense, because we know what the defense is looking like. The offense can be a lot better, and those guys could help them get there, because they're going to have to outscore teams. We know that. All right, it's been a fun show. We appreciate all the callers here on Cowboys Storyline, presented by Gillette. We will see you next time on Cowboys Storyline.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?